what I would like to discuss with you is this idea of avoiding a turnaround being no more than a remission. Because a turnaround, we can't speak about turnaround, but what I would like to do with you is to go one step further, to say, let's not look at the success. We will speak about what is behind this turnaround, but is it really a successful turnaround? And it is what we must permanently see. We must be a devil advocate of our own action. So just one little word about the book. Oh, how does it work? The book, you know, in fact, starts with, I call that a genuine moment of truth in corporation. Look at this quotation. Mr. Kuipers, who was the chairman of SN Brussels Airlines, I am an average Belgian citizen. Thanks to your achievement at the head of SN, we know that our taxes are no longer used to subsidize a chronically unprofitable airline company. And I wanted to say you thank you on behalf of all my compatriots. And this sentence took place the day Rob Kuipers resigned at a business convention at Ernst & Young. And when I heard that, I said, we must do something, because this moment of corporate truth has something behind. So that's what I describe in this book from a pretty specific angle. Well, that's the structure of the book, but what I would like also to do when I wrote this book is to go further. Therefore, I invite 7 CEO and chairman. Richard is one of them. Sébastien Bazin is the CEO of Colony Capital. You find Bernard Charles, the CEO of Dassault Systèmes. So I found pretty solid CEO and chairman to say, Jean-Frédéric, what you write is fine. But how can we really endorse, assess what you have experienced here? And all of them is coming with a specific perspective. Richard is coming with a balance sheet management perspective. Magnus Welander, a Swedish guy, is coming with a forecasting perspective. And that's what I have tried to do in this book. But beyond the book, now let's be back on this presentation, avoiding a turnaround being no more than a remission. Alors, what will we do tonight? First, I would like to give you some specific idea about this turnaround context in SN. What was SN Brussels Airlines? But my point tonight is to tell you a turnaround is a people-centric approach. But that's one side. And Richard needs to come to explain that what I'm saying is quite nice. But if you have a strong, solid, let's say, balance sheet management culture, all what I'm saying is just, I will say, a nice dream. There is something which can vanish very, very quickly. So, and that was Richard's point about how do you remain integrative in your approach of management. It's not marketing strategy. Yeah. When I was like you in the MBA program, marketing was quite important. But you discover that usually you fail through people and through lack of cash. Strategy is not so often a cause of failure. Lack of cash, yes, systematically. People also. So that's what I would like to address tonight. And, alors, what is a turnaround? Let's see what is happening. Before a turnaround, there is, I have this concept, there is first a break point. And what is a break point? A break point is a situation in the history of the company where management-based demonstrated practices are no longer effective. And little by little, you are overwhelmed. You are surrounded. I will give you an example of what is happening today for me. I am restructuring one other airline company in Trinidad. It's a small country, wealthy country, and it's a small case in terms of aircraft, just 10 aircraft. But in terms of cost of restructuring, it's not so small. We discuss of $500 million US. For 10 aircraft, 2,600 people. So it's a lot of money. And what has happened? In 2003, they go for a restructuring program. And unfortunately, it doesn't materialize because overhead were in excess. 2004, direct operating costs rocketed up because of oil cost. So overheads, operating costs increasing. Bon, still losses. 2005, they start losing traffic. What can they do in 2006? The situation is nearly hopeless. But when you address each VP of the company, they have all the perceptions that they were achieving a fantastic job. Why? Because it was somebody else's concern. And one of the criteria of beyond breakpoint is a company where people say it's somebody else's concern. And you observe that quite often. And what is happening? About the following. The next stop is either a turnaround or the liquidation. And in this approach, what do you observe usually? Well, the following. Is the organization recognizing the urgency of the measure necessary to be taken? We have 4 cases, which are in fact 4 companies which I knew pretty well. And these first 2 cases are nearly the same. Mediocre momentum, just below the level of the sea or just under the level of the sea. And the question is, can a turnaround occur in this context? And the answer is no. Why? Because this example was Saint-Gobain in Spain, Crystal area. And in Saint-Gobain in Spain, the staff was pretty old. The average age was pretty high. And the decline was not terrible. So, can we do something? No. Why? Because I will certainly be already retired when some very tough measure need to be taken. But I can't tell you. It was what the Spanish guy told us. No, not for me. For the young fellow we will hire. And what is that? It's called slow death. But it's happened. That's what is called a planned crash. Nothing else. Because when you want a turnaround, you need an electroshock. Yeah, you need an electroshock. And this electroshock can happen here. Why? Because you have an accident. Where, okay, boom, huge loss. Well, okay, something is happening. And we will see that a bankruptcy is this kind of electroshock because it's an electroshock for the whole company. And people, therefore, say something else needs to happen, never again. And this electroshock, you must remember that, is also coming with one important thing, a change in the leadership. Because the team who leads a company into crisis never tows it out. That's something which happens always. Don't dream that the guy who put you into the wall will reconstruct the car. No, it doesn't happen. So that's why the first point is a turnaround suppose an electroshock. Alors, we are in a case of bankruptcy, SN, an electroshock. Let's look at what is an electroshock. SN relaunch was preceded by drastic measures never imagined before. So that was the situation, 2001, Sabena. 11,000 people, 114 destinations, 87 aircraft. That's SN. Look at the magnitude of the downsizing. Just take one. We divide the people. The people were divided by a factor of what? 5, 6? Fleet by 2? Number of passengers by 3? And imagine these 2,000 people. That's why I use this word. It's not very English. Because I say polytraumatized. En français, in French, it's polytraumatisé. It means that they have been traumatized from many angles. And they have to recover. And the problem is that now, you have to win with these people. That's a big, big challenge. That's when I say it's a people-centric exercise. You observe here's the situation. OK, you have downside the thing. But let's make a short break. That's what Mr. Kuipers inherited in 2002. Interesting, very great success. 2005, the French press expressed that. Fine. Is it really a turnaround? I will tell you the truth. No, it is not. It's a journalist from the Herald Tribune calls that, it's a friend of mine calls that a start through, and he's right. Why? Because somebody has achieved the cut. The liquidator and inherited, and Mr. Kuipers inherited it from a plan done by the liquidator and say, my friend, now you have 2,000 guys with 38 aircraft. Go. Same year, 2002, Jurgan